There's a strange problem many capable people face. They're calm, they're intelligent, they're disciplined, and yet, somehow, people don't fully take them seriously. They speak thoughtfully, and still their words are overlooked. They move with intention, and still their presence is underestimated. They hold themselves with quiet dignity, and still something feels off in how others respond. Why? Because they explain themselves too much, because they react too quickly, because they feel pressure to justify, clarify, defend, and prove. And the moment they do, something subtle slips away. Respect. Not because they were wrong, not because they lacked skill, but because true confidence doesn't rush to prove itself. Here's the uncomfortable truth that almost nobody will tell you. The more you react, the less power you hold. Dangerous confidence isn't about being loud. It doesn't demand attention. It doesn't perform for anyone. It doesn't announce itself, argue for itself, or defend its existence. It's something far more rare. It's the kind of presence that makes people pause before speaking over you. The kind of presence that makes silence feel heavy, meaningful, not awkward. The kind of confidence that turns a room's energy toward you, even when you haven't spoken a word. And this isn't new. The Stoics understood it centuries ago, not as motivation, not as personality, not as some flashy trick or temporary mindset, but as internal structure, a foundation so solid that it doesn't need validation. A quiet authority that radiates from your presence, your posture, your pause, from the very way you inhabit your body. Today, we're going to uncover it. We're breaking down 7 Stoic rules that eliminate the subtle behaviors quietly killing your authority. These are not tips to act more confident. They're tools to stop acting at all, to let confidence emerge naturally, automatically, inevitably. Stay with me until the end, because Rule 6 is where most people unknowingly surrender their power every single day. This isn't theory. This is your blueprint to stop performing confidence and finally start living it. Let's begin. Rule number 1, stop performing certainty. The weakest confidence is almost always the loudest. Think about it. People who need to sound sure usually aren't. They overexplain. They speak in absolutes. They rush to answer questions they haven't fully thought through. Not because they're unintelligent, far from it. They're smart, capable, talented, but they're afraid. Afraid of appearing unsure. Afraid of being judged. Afraid that if they hesitate for even a second, their authority will crumble. This is exactly what the Stoics warned against. Marcus Aurelius wrote for himself, not for applause. Seneca admitted uncertainty without panic. Epictetus didn't pretend to know what he didn't. They understood a truth that modern culture ignores. The moment you fake certainty, you fracture yourself. It does 3 critical things. Signals composure. People notice. You project stability without effort. Destabilizes reactive people, someone expecting a quick answer or emotional. Reaction suddenly realizes they don't control the interaction. Puts you back in control. You decide your timing, your words, your energy. Think about the last time someone provoked you. You reacted instantly. Later, you replayed it in your head, regretting what you said. Imagine if you had paused, even for 3 seconds, not to plan a comeback, not to craft a perfect answer, just to breathe. That pause gives you perspective. It lets emotions settle. It lets rational thought lead. Here's the surprising part. Most emotional manipulation dies in silence. Provocation is a test. Chaos seeks engagement. When you don't engage, it often collapses on its own. Practice this now. Next time someone says something triggering, count silently. 1, 2, 3. Don't speak until the pause finishes. Watch the room shift. Watch people lean in. Watch the energy change. This is confidence in action. Not performance, not aggression, not defense. Just calm, just presence, just authority rooted in stillness. The first few times it will feel uncomfortable. You'll feel the urge to fill the silence, to justify, to prove yourself. That's the exact point where you grow. Remember, the person who pauses is never rushed by others. The person who pauses is never baited by chaos. The person who pauses is the one people actually listen to and respect. Master the pause, and you reclaim power, one deliberate second at a time. Rule number 3, stop defending your reality. This is where most confidence leaks. Quietly, invisibly, without anyone noticing. Someone questions your choice, your boundary, your reaction. And almost instinctively, you explain. You justify. You argue. You try to make them understand. Even if your logic is airtight, even if your position is correct, something subtle is lost every time you defend yourself. Why? Because every explanation carries a hidden message. I need your agreement for this to be valid. That small admission, that subtle plea for validation, silently erodes your authority. The Stoics rejected this completely. Your experience, your decisions, your boundaries, they are not up for debate. Dangerously confident people understand this intuitively. They state their reality, and they stop. They say, this is what works for me, and let it stand. No case building, no persuasion, no emotional labor. Here's the uncomfortable truth. People who truly respect themselves don't negotiate their inner reality. They don't ask for approval. They don't beg for understanding. They acknowledge without absorbing. You can listen to another's perspective without giving it power over you. Try this the next time someone challenges you. I hear you. This is still my decision. Then stop. No defense. No follow-up. No over-explaining. Let the silence carry the weight. Let it do the work your words used to do. Notice the effect. The person across from you either respects it or reveals that they were never going to respect it anyway. Either outcome is valuable information. You regain your energy, your focus, your calm. Here's a subtle secret. The world often respects those who don't negotiate their reality more than those who justify endlessly. Your clarity and calm signal something rare. You are self-governed, unshakable, grounded. Every time you defend yourself unnecessarily, you hand pieces of your authority to the other person. Every time you stop defending, you reclaim it. Practice it immediately. Next time someone questions your choice, your reaction, or your boundary, say, I hear you. This is still my decision. Then stop talking. Watch how the energy shifts. Watch how people lean in, respect, or test you. Either way, your reality is intact. If this resonates, type in the comments, I don't negotiate my reality. Say it once. Say it aloud. Let it remind you, your inner world doesn't need permission to exist. Rule number 4. Build boundaries without emotion. Most people think boundaries are about being firm. They're not. Boundaries are about neutrality. The moment you sound angry, defensive, or apologetic, your boundary weakens. Your energy signals uncertainty, even if your words are sharp. People feel it. They test it. They push against it. Stoic boundaries are different. They are calm, unemotional, clear, final. That doesn't work for me. No explanation, no backstory, no apology. Here's the rule. Boundaries fail when you try to be liked while enforcing them. Dangerously confident people don't ask permission to protect their energy. They don't argue. They don't convince. They don't over-justify. They state. They repeat once if necessary. Then they disengage. Imagine this in practice. Someone asks you to take on a task you don't have bandwidth for. Instead of over-explaining why you can't, you say, I'm not available for this right now. And then you move on. Someone tries to guilt you for saying no. Instead of defending yourself, you calmly repeat, that doesn't work for me, and you don't react further. This is where most people fail. They allow emotion, frustration, guilt, or fear of judgment to creep in, and the moment emotion enters, the boundary becomes negotiable. Here's the hard truth. Some people will react badly. Some will be angry. Some will push, test, or even attack. That's not a sign you're wrong. It's a sign your boundary worked. People who benefited from your lack of boundaries, who thrived when you said yes out of obligation or fear, will resist. Let them. Your calm refusal, your emotionless clarity, is stronger than any argument. It communicates authority without aggression. It communicates presence without intimidation. It communicates, I am unshakable. My energy is mine. Start small. Say no to a meeting you don't want to attend. Say no to a favor you cannot provide. Say no to a conversation that drains you. Notice what happens. People may test you. They may argue. They may even try to make you feel guilty. That's fine. That's expected. Your job isn't to control their reaction. Your job is to enforce your boundary with calm clarity. Over time, this builds a silent authority, a presence that people can't push around, a confidence that doesn't need performance. Boundaries done correctly aren't walls, they're structural integrity. Without them, you can't rest, create, or exist fully. With them, you reclaim yourself. If you're ready to own your energy, type this in the comments. My boundaries are non-negotiable. Say it aloud. Let it remind you, your time, energy, and peace are not up for debate. Rule number 5. Reclaim your attention. Confidence collapses when your attention lives outside you. Checking reactions, replaying conversations in your head, monitoring how you're perceived, constantly measuring yourself against other people's expectations. That's not awareness. That's surveillance, and it quietly eats your authority piece by piece. The Stoics understood something modern culture has almost forgotten. Where your attention goes, your authority follows. If your focus is external, your confidence is conditional. It depends on likes, approval, nods, reactions, things you cannot fully control. Dangerously confident people do the opposite. They reclaim their attention. They ask themselves, was I aligned? Was I honest? Did I respect myself? Not. Did they approve? Did that land? What will they think? This one subtle shift from external validation to internal alignment restores presence instantly. Think about it. Someone criticizes your work. Most people immediately start measuring themselves against the critique. They replay it. They justify. They obsess. Dangerously confident people pause and ask themselves, does this matter to my integrity? Am I aligned with my own standards? The answer guides action, not fear of judgment. Here's how to practice immediately. Do something meaningful today without telling anyone. No post, no explanation, no validation loop. Do it purely because it matters. It could be finishing a personal project you've been avoiding, writing your thoughts in a journal without sharing, completing a workout, a task, or a creative act just for yourself. Let the action be complete on its own. The satisfaction is internal, not borrowed from external recognition. Over time, this rewires your nervous system. Your confidence no longer depends on approval. It becomes self-sourced, stable, and automatic. Here's the powerful part. When your attention is reclaimed, people notice, even if you don't perform or announce it. Your presence becomes magnetic. Your energy becomes unshakable. Your actions speak louder than words ever could. There is the part of you that speaks, and then there's the part of you that's watching, calculating, adjusting, hoping everything lands perfectly. That split is exhausting. It drains your energy. And worse, people sense it, even if they can't articulate it. Dangerously confident people do something rare. They say, I don't know, without shrinking. They say, I need time to think, without apologizing. They say, I was wrong, without collapsing, without panicking, without begging for forgiveness. And here's the paradox. Saying these things doesn't make them weaker. It raises their authority, because true confidence isn't loud. It's not about claiming certainty. It's about stability. It's the calm presence in a storm, the person who doesn't need to convince anyone because they know their footing is solid. Here's how to start practicing this today. The next time you don't know something, don't rush. Don't fill the silence with a guess or an explanation. Instead, let the silence breathe. Let people feel it. Say something simple like, I'll get back to you. Then stop. Notice what happens. The room changes. People lean forward. They pause. They wait. That pause is power. Authority starts in discomfort. If the idea of staying silent even for a few seconds scares you, good. That's exactly where growth begins. That's where stability begins. That's where dangerous confidence starts to take root. Now imagine carrying that energy into every conversation, every meeting, every decision. No more pretending. No more performance, just presence, just stability, just unshakable authority that comes from knowing. You don't need to know everything to be confident. Rule number 2, master the pause. Most people don't lose confidence because of what they say. They lose it because of when they say it. They react immediately. They respond emotionally. They fill silence with words, gestures, or explanations, not because they have to, but because anxiety drives them to do something. The Stoics called this slavery. Epictetus said, "If someone controls your reactions, they control you." Every instant reaction is a surrender. Every reflexive answer is power handed outward. Here's the rule. Speed is submission. The faster you respond, the more control you give to the situation. And the less control you have over yourself. Dangerously confident people do something rare. They pause, not for show, not to manipulate, not to prove anything. They pause because they own their nervous system. When criticized, they don't defend. When challenged, they don't rush. When provoked, they don't bite. They let the moment breathe. And that pause isn't empty. It's powerful. If you're ready to reclaim your authority, type this in the comments. I choose myself. Say it aloud. Let it remind you. Your presence, your attention, and your confidence belong to you, not to anyone else. Rule number 6. Become non-reactive under pressure. This is the rule most people fail, not because it's difficult, but because it exposes old wounds. When someone raises their voice, when tension enters the room, when stakes rise, most people escalate. They match anger with anger, fear with fear, anxiety with anxiety. They think reacting is strength. The Stoics knew better. They understood one unshakable truth. The calmer person controls the frame. Emotional reactivity is not passion. It is lack of regulation. It is surrender. Dangerously confident people do something rare. They let emotions pass through them, not command them. They don't suppress. They don't explode. They observe. Imagine it. Someone attacks your idea in a meeting. Most people feel the surge, the heat, the surge of defensiveness, the urge to fight back immediately. Dangerously confident people feel it too, but they pause. They breathe. They remain centered. Here's how to train this step by step. Slow your breath. Inhale fully, exhale fully. This signals safety to your nervous system. Lower your voice. Speak deliberately, not urgently. Calm commands authority more than volume. Reduce your words. Less is more. Chaos feeds on engagement. Calm starves it. Think about it. People can argue with words. They can't argue with composure. Every time you react emotionally, you give power away. Every time you pause, breathe, and respond from center, you reclaim it. Practice this deliberately. When someone provokes you, count to 5 before responding. When criticism lands harshly, say nothing immediately. Let the thought settle. When tension rises, observe your body. Notice the impulse to react, then choose calm action. This isn't about being cold or detached. It's about sovereignty. It's about showing the world that your state of mind is non-negotiable. When mastered, this rule transforms everything. Meetings, arguments, negotiations, even casual conflicts, all are navigated with effortless authority. You become untouchable in conflict, not because you're aggressive, but because nothing shakes you. Here's a test. The next time tension rises, do not react immediately. Pause, breathe, observe, respond deliberately. Notice how people lean in, how the energy shifts, how subtle authority replaces chaos. If this resonates, type in the comments, I am calm under pressure. Say it aloud. Let it remind you, your composure is your weapon. Rule number 7, embrace strategic invisibility. Modern culture tells you a lie about confidence. Confidence means always speaking. Confidence means always being seen. Confidence means always asserting your presence. That's performance, not power. It's noise disguised as authority. It's effort masquerading as influence. The Stoics taught something different. True confidence is selective. It is strategic. It knows when to be visible and when to vanish. Dangerously confident people understand the power of silence and discretion. They don't fill pauses out of anxiety. They don't chase attention. They don't prove relevance to anyone. Their restraint gives weight to their presence. When they speak, people listen, because every word matters. When they are silent, people lean in, because they sense depth, not emptiness. Think about it. Someone dominates the conversation, speaking constantly. How often do you truly remember what they said? Someone sits quietly, observing, listening, choosing their words carefully. How often do you feel their authority before they even speak? That's the difference. Here's how to practice strategic invisibility immediately. Pause before speaking. Don't speak to fill space. Don't speak to prove intelligence or assert dominance. Only contribute when it adds value. Shift the discussion. Clarify a critical point. Solve a problem. Observe reactions before responding. Notice who is talking. Notice the energy in the room. Let silence do the work of authority. Practice restraint in everyday life. On social media, post less. In conversations, ask questions before giving opinions. In meetings, let others overcommit themselves before you make your move. The magic of strategic invisibility. People lean in when you speak. Your words carry weight. Your presence becomes magnetic, not manufactured. Your confidence becomes felt, not announced. Remember, silence is not absence. It is a signal that you are complete, unshakable, and fully present, whether the world is watching or not. Try this in your next interaction. Wait, observe. Only speak when your words shift the room. Notice the energy change. Notice the subtle respect. If this resonates, type in the comments. I speak with purpose. I remain unseen until needed. Say it aloud. Let it remind you, true authority doesn't announce itself. It radiates silently. Dangerous confidence isn't built. It's uncovered. Everything you just heard isn't about adding traits. It's about removing overexplaining, reactivity, validation seeking, emotional leakage, performative certainty. What remains is who you were before you learned to shrink. Calm, grounded, complete. This doesn't change overnight, but it compounds. One pause instead of a reaction. One boundary without explanation. One moment of silence instead of performance. 6 months from now, people won't know what changed. They'll just feel it. And that's the point. If this strengthened you, pass it on. Like the video, share it with someone who needs their presence back. Subscribe if you're done performing confidence and ready to live it. And remember, you're not becoming someone new. You're finally standing as yourself, fully, quietly, dangerously confident. Welcome back.